I'm a 67-year-old grandfather.
Yeah.
I've lived in Australia for coming up for 11 years, and if I count the time when I was treasurer of 2 P&Cs at the same time, I've been treasurer of P&Cs for 13 and a half years.
Brendan here from School Fun Run. And today on the Legacy Collective, I'm talking to Alan Knight. Alan's very special to us because normally at School Fun Run, we work with parents who love their kids. But Alan is a granddad who loves his grandkids so much that he didn't volunteer on 1 P&C, he volunteered on 2. So I hope you enjoy this chat as much as I do as we delve into what life is like for a granddad on a P&C, why he joined it, and why you might want to consider it as well. The big reason why I'm excited to talk to you today, right, really is we at School Fun Run work with lots of parents, and they're special in their own right, because I always think an average school for us has 400 kids. So in rough numbers, you're talking 800 parents, like 1 mum, 1 dad per kid.
Yep.
Obviously, some families have more than 1 kid at the school. So let's be realistic and say there's 600 parents that attend, or not attend, but send their kids to a school, right? Out of those 600 adults, there might be 5 or 10 on the P&C. So there's 590 people not on the P&C and 10 that are. So those people are very, very special to us. I've been at School Fun Run now for 17 years. I've known a lot of coordinators. I've never come across a grandparent on the P&C holding a fun run until I came across you.
Mm-hmm.
And we already hold these parents in high regard because of the commitment they're making to their kids and the school that their kids go to. But you are, like, for me, one of one. So firstly, I want to praise you for that and say, like, that is amazing. But what is it that makes you do that?
Someone mentioned school banking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what's that? And they explained the Commonwealth Bank school banking program.
Mm.
And I thought, yeah, I could help out with that. So I started helping out the 3 ladies, I think it was, that were running school banking at Brightwater State School.
Mm-hmm.
And probably right from the start of term 4 of 2014, the year we'd got here. So within 3 months, I'd started volunteering. Early in the next year, Louise, who was the treasurer of the P&C, who was also English, came to me one day and said, Alan, my husband and I are going back to the UK. Would you take over as treasurer of the P&C? Mm-hmm. She said, I can see from the time that I spent working with you in school banking that you've got an aptitude for numbers. It's not hard. It doesn't take much time. Okay, says me. Yeah. Didn't really investigate what not much time actually meant, or whether it's me that's made it mean a lot more.
Yeah.
There's been times of the years well, I'm probably doing 15, 20 hours a week. But other times when you're only doing 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, sure.
But it ended up being a lot more. The really fortunate thing, when I took over as treasurer of the P&C at Brightwater State School, a guy called Connor Walsh, who is Irish, just moved over literally the year before me. And his eldest was just starting at Brightwater. He became president. And we stayed that way for 7 years with him as president and me as treasurer. And we made just a great team.
Sure.
We continue to be friends to this day, but we just worked really, really well together. So by March 2015, I'm treasurer of the P&C and getting involved with all of the fundraising things. Fun runs, which were just runs in those days prior to getting into Crazy Colour Days. Mother's Day, Father's Day. Connor and I used to both go in and help out in the cafe on a Friday because there was so many meals ordered on a Friday, they just couldn't cope. So he'd be on the pizza station and I'd be on the burger station. We'd do that every week. School discos. And then we got a bit excited with ourselves, and we came up with the concept of a school fete. And managed to persuade the principal that it was a good idea. So we ran the first school fete in 2017. And the interesting thing is, for all of the work and for all of the volunteers and for all of the man hours that were put into that, so it was me and Connor, it was one of the deputy principals, I think we had one other volunteer as the main organising committee. And then we created this concept where we paired all the classes together. There was 42 classes, and we paired them together. So it's 21 pairs, and we did it geographically. So if one class is next door to another class, they got paired together. And we gave them each the choice of what stall they were going to run. So 21 stalls, plus 3 or 4 others that we brought in from outside. We brought a fare in. It made some good money, but not as much money as running a crazy colour day.
Really? So your fun run made the school more money, and I'm guessing it was a lot less work.
Oh, a lot less work.
Yeah.
The first school fete at Brightwater made, well, it turned over 65,000. But the costs accounted for half of that.
Yeah, sure. And I guess the other thing about fetes is if it rains on your weekend, that's a problem too, because to your point, you've bought in rides and things like that. And I guess there's deposits, and you can't just necessarily postpone it a week because they're booked at other schools.
No, that's right.
Yeah, it can be quite tricky. I want to ask you a question about, I've got so many questions, but 2 in my mind at the moment. When you moved out here and joined the school, through firstly the banking program and then later the P&C, you were relatively new to Australia at that point. Did it help you become part of the community? Did you make friends through that and sort of feel like you're rooted here through that?
Oh, absolutely. It was the best way of actually getting to know people in the immediate surrounding community. My wife volunteered in the school cafe for quite a while as well. But yeah, people knew me. I earned a couple of fairly interesting nicknames amongst the kids. Outside of school, I was quite often known either, and I know this isn't technically right, but it's the way the kids think of it, Mr. Colour Run.
Yeah.
Or Mr. Starfest.
Yeah.
And
is that the name of the fete?
That was the name of the fete. Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah. So Star.
Yeah.
The school's logo is a 5-pointed star.
Yeah. Hence the name.
So it became Star Fest.
Yeah, Festival of the Star. Or
that's
whatever.
Right. Yeah. You know, just being accepted around the school, and then parents would see that the teachers accepted me. I guess at Brightwater, the one ongoing battle that I never ever won, I was wanted to be known as Alan. And all of the teachers said, that's not respectful. They need to call you Mr. Knight.
Yeah, okay. Fair
Which
enough.
was great, other than the fact that there was a teacher called Mr. Knight.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to be Alan. I'm just relaxed, and I didn't need it to be formal, but that's the way the teachers wanted it, and that's the way it carried on.
Now, interesting that you said that you joined the P&C because the opportunity was presented to you and was sold as not very much work, when it turned out that it was a fair bit of work. And I guess a lot of that would be, you strike me as someone who's very detail orientated and wants to do a thorough job. So I'm sure that the time that you spent on it was a lot compared to just the next person that would be a treasurer, but that's fine because that obviously makes you happy. The point is that it was a lot of work for you, right? You persisted in that role at Brightwater.
9 years.
9 years, right? Then you decided that even that wasn't enough, because now it's time to transfer to Kawana Waters and pick up a role on their P&C. I'm guessing that's because your grandkids changed schools?
Well, first of all, my granddaughter, obviously, she graduated in 2021. So she's now in grade 11.
Yeah.
I made contact with the school even before she'd started, and said, look, I'm treasurer of the P&C. at Brightwater.
Yeah.
My granddaughter's come into Kawana Water State College from January.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to be involved with the PNC.
Yeah. Now, just for clarity, she was going to high school.
Yes.
Was there anyone in primary school?
Nope.
From your family?
Nope.
No. But you're on the PNC for what? The primary school?
No, I'm on the PNC for the whole school.
The whole school?
Yeah.
Ah,
so
I gotcha.
Kawana Water State College is just over 2,000 students in total.
Yeah.
1,500 in the high school.
Yeah.
Just over 500 in primary.
Yeah.
But you're right in where you're going.
Yeah.
PNCs are more effective in things that they can do with primary schools.
Absolutely. And so that leads me to the obvious question, right? You'd done a lot of time at Brightwater. You knew how much effort went into it. And then you could have just retired from PNC life because your granddaughter's now in high school. She's changing schools. Seems like a logical time to just step back, right?
Well, I couldn't have stepped back at that time. Clay still had another 3 years at Brightwater, so that was never going to stop.
Okay.
But I contacted the school and said I'd be interested in being involved with the PNC, and it turned out that their PNC was in caretaker mode.
At Kawana.
At Kawana.
Yeah.
So it had effectively folded.
Yes.
And I said, that's a shame. And they said, would you help us try and reform it? And I said, well, what you got to do is find a president. So they found the husband of a teacher who had 3 kids at the school, who was willing to take over as president. PNC gets reformed.
How long ago was that?
2021.
Okay, so because of your effort on the PNC and the school's enthusiasm to get a PNC raised again, they've now had a PNC, I'm guessing, for 4 years, something like that.
Three and a half years, yeah.
And what has the PNC been able to do for the school in that time?
It's a little less than we've achieved at Brightwater, because at Brightwater we ran 2 business units. So we ran the school cafe, which was, for all that I know, many PNCs say, how can you stop losing money in the cafe? Well, we didn't ever lose money. We were fortunate. It was a fairly big school, so there was a fairly good turnover of food every day. So it made money. More difficult, we also ran a second-hand uniform shop.
Okay.
So
just to clarify, does the school have a uniform shop where they sell new uniforms?
At that stage, it was outsourced.
Yeah.
But it was on site.
Yeah.
But subsequently, they put it out to tender. I sat on the tender committee, and it was outsourced to a shop 6-7 kilometres away.
Okay.
School Locker.
So parents,
I guess most people know School Locker.
So parents had a choice to drive there and buy a new uniform, or to come to school and get a second-hand uniform.
Yeah, when the previous incumbent moved out, we bought whatever stock they had, but treated it as second-hand. But then we also said to parents, if you need to get rid of some uniforms, we'll buy them from you if they're in good condition. So, for example, school T-shirt, we'd buy for $5, we'd sell it for $9. I think at the time a new one was probably $24.
Wow, yeah.
And then we found that people were actually quite happy to just donate old uniforms, particularly if they were moving out of the area or moving to high school.
Yes, yeah.
And in time, we ended up, we stopped the buyback.
Yeah.
We just let people donate stuff.
Yeah.
So that was another business unit that was making money, that was generating funds that go back into the school.
Yeah, and helping the parents.
And helping the parents. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. When I first started with Kawana, because the PNC had been in caretaker mode for 2 years, the 2 business units, namely the uniform shop and this school cafe, tuck shop, get the names right. It's a tuck shop at Kawana, a cafe at Brightwater, had both been handed back to the school.
Yes.
And the school have continued to run them. So we don't have those fundraising.
Yeah.
So we make money through Mother's Day, Father's Day, school discos.
Much more traditional fundraising.
Much more traditional fundraising, which means for me as a treasurer, it's a hell of a lot less work. The cafe alone was turning over $250,000.
Wow.
At Brightwater. That's a lot of invoices
and a lot of moving parts, as you say,
yeah.
because it's, there's a lot of different ingredients that would go into a school canteen. So it's a lot for you to manage for sure.
So none of that at Kawana. We even, I'm flipping back to Brightwater, we came probably about that close to taking on out of school hours care.
Yeah, I know that's a big one for some schools. Yeah.
And do you know what? That's an interesting story that brings my relationship with School Fun Run together. The principal was so desperate to persuade us not to take on out of school hours care because of the risks that it posed for the exec personally, because if something goes completely wrong and it's run by a PNC, the exec are liable. She was determined that we weren't going to do it, and she brought in the principal from Mooloolaba State School, where the PNC had run it and had to get rid of it because they'd had problems.
Okay.
So she brought him in.
She tried quite hard to
She tried very hard. And he came in and he was very blunt. He said, if you do this, I'll change my words. I'm not going to say the word I was going to use and the word that he used. But basically he said, if you go ahead with this, you're stupid. He said, there's much better ways of making money anyway. Why don't you do a crazy colour day? And we'd been trying to persuade the principal that we wanted to do it. We'd done school fun runs, but we'd never done a colour one. And she'd brought this guy in. He's saying, why don't you do it? She was shot down in flames. And she had to accept
backtrack
it.
from there.
And years later, she's a part of it every year.
She's loving it.
And absolutely loves it.
And I can understand why. I love going to school and seeing the principals and the preppies running together, and the principals putting colour powder on the little kids. And I think to myself, it's just so wholesome to see the whole school community, from the apex, like from the boss, from the principal, right down to the kid who's just started this year in prep. And they're together on the oval having a smile and a laugh and a good time. And I think, wow, I never had that when I went to school, but fundamentally makes school feel like a good place to be, because your friend is the principal on that day, your friend is the principal. And I never had that feeling. And I think it's very empowering.
Oh God, I mean, going back to when I was at school, a lot of years before you, the principal or headmaster or headmistress, as it was in those days, you were damn scared of them.
100%, especially when you're as bright as me, which is to say not very. And going to see the principal was never a rewarding experience for me. But it just sets your mental state up as if life is a hierarchy, because you're the first organisation that you're a part of really is school, like as a structured organisation that you spend a lot of time in. And you report to your teacher, you report to the principal, and it all goes one way and you're at the bottom. Whereas when you hold something like a school fun run and everyone is equal for the day and the idea is to just have a laugh and a good time, it really levels that playing field. And even the smallest kid can feel like the principal is on their side. And I think that's just very good for student well-being.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the relationship between the staff and the students on that day, it's a completely different level, a different level of understanding. And I guess the kids probably get to see the staff as just other human beings instead of being someone that is there to be respected and responded to.
How many fun runs, because you've done them for a long time now across 2 schools, so what would you say you're up to?
I reckon it's either 6 or 7.
Yeah?
And
this year you set a record for your school with the fundraising?
Oh, we absolutely smashed it. 18 grand was our previous highest. And we did I think $62 short of 30 grand.
Yeah, I saw that. I was a little heartbroken that it was like 29,000, and as you say, like
939 and 29
like,
cents.
Just $70
Yes,
if we're
that's
over
right.
30. But anyway,
Yeah.
so it's delayed gratification for next year. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it was what it was, but it was. I set a target of publicly. I set a target of 20.
Yeah.
In my head, I had 25.
Yeah, and you've exceeded that
we
by nearly
smashed it.
$5,000. Yeah.
Yeah, we beat it by 20%.
Yeah, yeah. You should have sent me your link, but to get you over 30, because I'm always looking for schools to break that psychological barrier.
Yeah.
I would have donated to your fun run for sure. Just stepping back one question or a couple of questions, I guess now. We talked about the idea of you moving from Brightwater to Kawana. And the idea that could have been a good time for you just to exit the PNC, but you said that was never going to happen because Clay was still at Brightwater, I'm guessing. But why did you persist? Because there has to be. I understand your reasoning, but like you're on it now, and do you have any grandkids at a primary school now?
No,
but you continue to go on.
I still carry on.
What is it?
It's a PNC for the whole school. It's become a part of my life. It's something that I do now.
What do you get out of it?
Oh, the kids appreciating it. The kids recognising that here's a guy who's getting involved and is doing things that's helping them.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably not the case with preps and ones. But anything above that. Actually, we held our Crazy Colour Day at Kawana, not last week, the week before. And I went into school the following day, and the kids were stopping me all round the school.
Yeah.
You were there for the colour run yesterday, weren't you?
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And, the kids recognising that through someone being involved and pushing things forward, it's a great day that they've had.
So, Alan, you've obviously done a lot of school fun runs with us over the years across the 2 different schools. How did you find the service that you got, and how does school fun run rank against other types of fundraisers?
It's a great fundraiser because the kids have a load of fun from it. They enjoy it. It becomes the highlight of the school year for very, very many of them. I know that there's various other PNCs around the country that have done Crazy Colour Days, and then they thought, we can do this on our own. I wouldn't. It's been discussed at PNC meetings, and I said, nope, count me out. We work with school fundraising. Their portal works, the prizes work. It makes the whole thing so much easier to run through. There's a project in place, a process in place that makes it all work. I guess over the years, I've probably worked with 3 or 4 different members of your team. If I put it that when each one has told me that they're actually moving on, I've thought, oh, no, because they've all been so good. And I'm hoping you're not going to tell me that Cody is moving on in the near future, because like all of the others before her, she's just been great, and nothing ever is too much trouble. I contacted Cody late on Thursday because our prize ordering window at Kawana was due to finish on Friday, and I'd completely overlooked that it was a show day.
Okay.
So no one was at school.
Yeah.
So we didn't have the last day to remind the last kids to get their prizes ordered. Contacted her. Can you set it back a couple of days? Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
And of course, I was coming here today. I wanted Tuesday and Wednesday to be able to get into the school, go around the classrooms personally and say, okay, these are the ones that haven't ordered their prizes. Are you going to do it? Because if you don't, I'll be ordering you a handball.
Yeah, sure. Would you advocate for people to join a PNC if they have time?
Oh, if you've got the time, it's frustrating at times when you see the small number of people that are getting involved in a PNC. It's very frustrating when you've got a meeting planned and you turn out and you haven't got a quorum there.
Yes.
It becomes more frustrating when you see people around who aren't heading straight away from a school. They're going to stand and have a chat and a cup of coffee for an hour, and they could have been part of a P&C meeting. But that's life. My wife says to me, don't let it get to you, Alan. You're happy doing it, so just carry on with it the way it is. It's become more difficult to get volunteers. And I think the world has changed, even in the last 10 years. There are so many more people now that need both parents to be at work.
Yeah.
And you can see that by out-of-school hours cares opening earlier and earlier,
Yes.
so that one parent can take the kids there and then the other one can finish work early enough to go back and pick them at the other end of the day. So that's affected volunteer numbers. But if you've got the time, how many grandparents haven't got the time? Yes, some grandparents are still in their 40s and 50s and need to work. But there's got to be a lot of grandparents at any single school who are, if not as old as me, I'm 67. But you know, if you're into your 60s and you're not working full time, just go along and help. It's worth it. You'll get the effort back in spades from being recognised by the kids, but recognised also by other parents and the staff of the schools. I mean, the simple fact is, you volunteer as much or as little as you want. Being a member of a P&C allows those people that are choosing to be actively involved to pass information on to you. You don't ever have to volunteer once. Just accept it. Be a member. I remember one prime example when we were trying to get members at Brightwater, and it was a visit the teacher evening. And I approached someone from our little P&C stand and said, so would you be interested in becoming a member of the P&C? What's a P&C? So I explained to him what it was. Well, what do you do? And I said, well, we raise money to benefit the school. Well, like what? I said, well, can you see that adventure playground down there? Yeah. I said, we paid for that from the P&C, from money that a group of people getting together, holding fundraising events, paid for that. It was 115,000, and then I wrote a grant application and I got another 18,000 to pay for the Shadesdales. No, you didn't. The government pays for all of that. None of that happened at all. That's just not true. And he stormed off.
Wow.
And that sort of response, that one is now going back probably 7 years, and it still rankles with me.
Oh, I'm sure it does. And I think the other thing that we come across, which I always feel sorry for as well, is because we're dealing with P&Cs like literally day in, day out. And I know that these people are volunteering their time because they love their kids and they want to be part of their school community. And I know how rare they are. I get all that, right? And then they get negative feedback from the rest of the school community that aren't actually participating in anything, right? They're not volunteering. They're not on the P&C. They're not doing anything other than dropping their kids to school, but they're willing to complain to the P&C when things go wrong. And I think to myself, like, that's why we at School Fun Run work so hard to support the people that hold a school fun run, because it just upsets us when these people aren't given the leniency that they deserve, because not everything goes right all the time. That's life. But if you're volunteering and no one else is willing to volunteer, you should be pretty slow to throw stones, you know. Parents will go to parent-teacher night to learn about what's happening for their child within that classroom at that school. But a P&C, for parents that are really active and have the time and want to be involved, P&C is the place to go to get more insight on what's happening at the school in general. What is the strategy for the school moving forward? What sort of decisions are being made? To your point, you get to learn who the teachers are and what they're about. So you get a much deeper insight into your own child's education than just turning up to parent-teacher night. Not everyone can do it. I get that because of scheduling and things like that. But for those people that can do it, there seems to be a lot of advantages for being a part of the P&C that are maybe not easy to see from the outside, because to your point earlier, a lot of people think P&C is just a self-sacrificing role where you turn up, you volunteer to help the school. It's probably a very confusing place to be, because everyone's a volunteer. There's probably a lot of uncomfortable discussions because a lot of people are learning things for the first time. And on that front, you go, I'd just rather stay away. But the rewards are there if you're willing to turn up and be a part of that. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, I would say that I've probably known more as a grandparent about what goes on at the two schools where I've been involved with P&Cs than probably 90% of actual parents and carers, because we get told.
Yes.
The simple fact is, if people choose to be a member, one, they don't have to attend a meeting. Two, they don't have to volunteer for anything. But what they will get is a flow of communication. They will have someone that if they need to, they can either get to via an email or a phone call. What they definitely will get at the end of every general meeting is the minutes of everything that was discussed. So from Kawana's point of view, they'll get a report written by the executive principal. They'll get a report written by the head of senior campus, a report by the head of the primary campus, a financial report from me. The executive principals will include a financial snapshot of where the school is. You're not a member. You don't get to see that stuff.
Thank you so much for explaining that, because I really think that's an insight that most people don't really understand about joining their P&C. And that's a very powerful thing, because you're talking about your kids. Like most people, I mean, all parents, I'm sure, would say it's the most important thing in their life. And this is a great way to be an active part of your kid's school life, which is a big part of their life. If they probably spend, if they're not at home, they're at school. For most kids in primary school, they're either here or there.
Yep.
And this is a way to get to be a part of their entire world, not just the bit that you have at home.
No, and as I say, it is so easy. It is non-committal. You don't have to put lots of time into it. Going back to me, grandfather, if I wasn't part of the P&C at Kawana, how much of what goes on at the school would I know? Less even than the general run-of-the-mill parent, because I don't suppose, for all the fact that we've got a great relationship with Emma and her husband Richard, would they tell us every time something was going on at the school?
Why would they?
No real reason to.
Correct.
Whereas it works out at times I can tell her things that are coming up before the school has even notified her. And any grandparent can do that.
Yeah. And the other thing which we haven't even discussed, but perhaps it's the biggest thing of all, is like this. We call this the Legacy Collective because we're collecting people's legacies, essentially. Well, that's what we're trying to do. And when I ask people, like, who when you think back in your life and you try to think of the people that made you who you are, who are those people, right? And then people tell me. But what you're doing for your grandkids is becoming that person. Because when someone in the future world asks your grandkids about you, they're going to say, my granddad volunteered at 2 different schools to help push forward my educational experience at both of those schools. What a gift. It's an example to your grandkids of how much you love them, how much you're willing to do for them, the impact that they can have on other people's lives, and they're seeing that in you. And I don't think that can be overlooked.
From me being here today, if as a result of what we've just been talking about, just one other grandparent becomes a part of a P&C somewhere, anywhere in Queensland, anywhere in Australia, worth the effort of driving down here today and talking with you.
Oh, that's amazing. Let's finish it there, because I can't think of a better way to sum this all up and make it all worthwhile. So thank you so much, Alan, for joining us. It's been wonderful chatting to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Legacy Collective podcast. Copyright by School Fun Run. Today's episode was brought to you by Funzy. You can find out more at funzy.com.au. And if you'd like to access other podcasts, we produce one called Chase the Fun. It's narrated by Chase the Cheetah, and it's made specifically for kids in primary school to help them develop characters to become the best human beings they can be. See you in the next episode.